everyone. Welcome to the Marketing Drip, where we drip tips to scale your business digitally. Abby here, and today's episode is part of our Fortune Management series. We're talking with coaches all over the United States to give guidance for all the dentists out there that are wanting to go to that next level. In this episode, I talked with Monica Glover, an executive coach at Fortune Management. Monica has a degree in dental hygiene, and she's implemented programs and systems that achieved optimal patient care and increased practice revenue during her 12-year tenure as a dental hygienist. So knowing that the optimal oral health is a pathway to your overall body health, she educates her patients and clients on achieving excellent overall health and the better quality of life. She lives that by the belief that one smile can set the mood for a joyous day and transform any adverse situation, which I love. As a coach for Fortune Management, Monica taps into the full potential of each of her offices, really applies those qualities, bringing each practice's vision to life. Her extensive clinical knowledge and her bachelor's degree in coaching really gives her an unparalleled attribute to produce team leaders, clinical efficiency, essential communication, and overall practice success. So let's not wait any longer. Let's begin today's drip, provided by Digital Resource, a full-service digital marketing agency that is your resource for everything digital. Hey, Monica, thank you so much for joining us today and dripping some knowledge. I am so excited to pick your brain and also just have some fun with you because you're always just so fun to talk to.
Thanks, Abby. Thanks for having me here. I'm excited for you to pick my brain.
Yay, I'm so excited. And I'm just going to get right into it, right? Like, I know everyone's busy and I want to make sure we're getting all these sound bites from you. So, I mean, based on your experience as a coach, you've worked with all these different dental practices from all over. And what do you find is often overlooked when it comes to dentistry as a whole or dental practices?
One of the biggest things that is often overlooked is that it is actually a business. A lot of the times dentists come out of dental school and they are fabulous practitioners. They're skillful at it. They know everything about dentistry, and then they're just thrown into this business. And that's scary. There's a lot of different components to the business. So we break it down into 5 areas. We have the people component, the clinical and technology, the organization, the marketing, and finance. And if at any time one of those isn't fostered, then it is very detrimental to the business. So that's one of the biggest things that I feel that is overlooked in the practices.
It's so well said. I hear that all the time, right? We constantly hear that at shows, and when people are talking about when it comes to dentistry, it's you're not just a clinician. You are also an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. And we always joke about you wear so many hats. Like some days you're HR, some days you're a plumber. Like you have to. And I don't think they're not necessarily prepared. I think it's better now than it has been over the years, but it definitely is that unknown of being a business owner and making sure that you're not just a clinician. You are hiring people. You are a leader to make sure that it is an efficient business and a profitable business. And I love that you say that because it's just point blank. Like what's overlooked? They're not expecting to take all those tasks when they come on. Yeah. And then DSOs have been so popular. Group practices have been so popular because of that, because, they're like, I didn't realize it was going to be like that. And I don't want to do that. Or they have the right team that surrounds them to make it a lot more effective and enjoyable, so to speak. So I love that you say that.
Yeah. It feels like drowning almost, you're just thrown into this. So for sure, I think just shedding a little light on that concern and just letting them know that this is a very big, big, big part of being a successful practitioner.
Yeah. But that's what's so amazing about dentistry is I think everybody kind of knows that, and all of us third parties come together like, hey, we're here to help. Like we're here to be or assist you and make sure that you're able to achieve the goals that you want. And it's such an amazing challenge that they can take on that they don't even know that they're capable of doing. And then once they get into it and you surround yourself with the right team, it can feel very overwhelming and drowning. Like you're drowning, I can imagine. But being able to just take that on and have the right people in your corner, we always like to say it's your board of experts, right? Like the right people that you can go to, that you trust. and that'll push you and that will make you a better business owner is really crucial. It's so key. But you've got to, that's what's amazing about dentistry is everybody like rallies together to make that happen. And there's so many options.
Exactly.
Well, that being said, I mean, when it comes to barriers that really hold them back from being, because like you said, it's the business aspect of it, right? But what are barriers that you find that doctors really, or the practice as a whole, holds them back from growing to their fullest potential?
There's a couple. One is fear of the unknown. What if they do change or they do try another direction and doesn't work? And it's that reluctant to change that keeps them either stagnant or falling back into a pattern that may not be helpful. And it doesn't only fall on the doctors. It can also fall on a team member. So if you have a team member, just one person to plant that seed in that office that something's not a good idea, then it grows throughout the whole office. So we see that can bring down a practice in no time. So you can have a really good idea. The doctor can have this fabulous thing that he wants to implement, he or she, and it takes one person to really not want to change and kind of destroy that whole dream. So that being said, also having a great culture, talking to your team, empowering people, and letting them know what your vision is for the practice.
That's so scary. One person, but it's true, right? The one person. And I mean, do you have tips or advice on identifying that who it could be, or like maybe it's not even them as a person, maybe it's like the resources they have. That's it's such a difficult conversation and vulnerable, right? To like identify that and have to be put into whether it's firing or it's having those, brave conversations to make sure that you're identifying, is it them or the resources? Like, what are tips to go about a bad seed, so to speak?
So one of the most important conversations are the hardest conversations. So the ones that we do have to have with the people, those are the ones that we tend to stay away from. So I think that regular check-ins with your team, with all members on the team, to see if they are in line with your vision or they have the same ideas as you. And you can pretty much tell who they are when you start talking to them and asking them different questions. If you have the person on the team that is just giving you a negative answer to everything you're trying to implement, it's probably them. Or, you have somebody in your corner, that I feel like there's every office that has somebody in their corner that they know they can go to for anything, no matter what. But regular check-ins to see how they're doing. It is.
I feel like it's such a
really very telling.
It's so obvious, but it's not.
Communication is key.
It seems so hard at times, it's so hard to have the conversations, but I love that you say that because it is more intentional. If you know you're going to have those one-on-one meetings, if you know you're going to it doesn't feel jarring to somebody to be like, oh, why are we having this meeting? What did I do? What's going on? Like, oh no, this is our typical weekly meeting that we're checking on, our monthly meeting where we're checking in and really making sure that the goals still align and that everything's happening. But to your point, it's communication. It even just, I feel like sometimes it seems scary to just say what you want, like what your goals are. I want to hit 2 million. I want to have multiple locations. I want to stay at this practice. I want to do bread and butter. And that's what it's almost, do you find that like it's scary to say what you want, or if they don't know what they want? What do you think that is?
I think before we start saying what we want, we really have to think about what we want. So we want $2 million. So we have to find the why behind what we're saying. And when we find out the why behind these things, it's easier to map out for our team members, because if we can't tell you why we want it, then they're not going to buy into it for anything that we're saying. So definitely finding out the why behind these things, having a clear business plan and a vision for your practice is key to all of this. But you have to do some work and research on yourself to understand what it is that you want, because the things that you're blurting out might not actually do what you want in the first place.
Yeah. And we always say that when it comes to marketing too, we have to understand the why. We want to know the goals, because otherwise it's a moving target and we can't track and say what's working, what is going to make you happy. Yeah. we might have had the best conversion that we just ever had, but did the doctor want all those conversions? Like, it's just really, it's the same. It's making sure we're all on the same page and, again, going after that target, that same target. So we're all part of the same team.
Right.
We talked a little bit about tips, but obviously people we're a fast moving world, right? We want to know what we could do right now, today, to help impact the practice. So what are tips that you would instill or recommend to instill into the practice today that can help make a huge impact on them?
So number one is one that we just actually talked about. So that for the very first thing, you need to get a vision. You need to know where you want to go, what your practice wants to do. You need to invest in the people and in your practice, because with the ever-changing world, and there's probably 5 dentists down the street, maybe more in some areas, they're all evolving and they're all changing. And if you're stuck back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, patients are going to know. They might not know that you're the best dentist out of all 5, but they know what they see when they walk in. Investing in the people is also going to have them buy into the practice and your vision and know that you care. So having your team train, implementing strategies into the office and monitoring those strategies. We're really, really big on monitoring.
Well, let's dive into when you're saying tracking things. What do you think? Does it depend on the practice, or what are things that practices really need to be looking and monitoring? And what are the best ways to monitor to set them up for success? Because there's a lot of information when you go into a management practice. There's a lot, or a management software. There's a lot of reports. And speaking of drowning or overwhelming, that alone is I love data, but that is a lot. What is a good direction to start at for them to start monitoring and seeing what is success?
So we look at KPIs, or key production indicators, and what we're looking for is our production, our net production, our collections, the ratio of the collections to the production. So how are we getting the money that we're generating? And our AR, so our accounts receivable, how fast are we collecting that? How many accounts are outstanding? How much production are we getting per hour? As we know, the salaries are inflated. So how much are we generating to uphold those salaries? We look at things like that. Hygiene effectiveness. So how well is our hygiene department doing? Or our patients in the wellness wheel? Where were we from last year? What's the annual patient value? So how much money is our average patient bringing in? If it's a low number, maybe you might want to reconsider dropping insurances or reevaluating your structure in your office to see if you need to go on a network. So those are what we look at. And
those are, that's great. That just helps give guidance, because it can, like I said, it can be a lot, and those are all numbers that are deeply impacting. And I think too, it's just even understanding, like you said earlier, understanding goals and what you're identifying and your why, because that's also going to help keep you on course. If you want to, you can look at the numbers to really reflect how they're getting you to your goals. So there might be some additional ones on top of it, but those are amazing foundational ones, and to just get you guys started to really go towards your goals. But no, I love that. That's amazing. As far as you talked about culture too, and I want to drive that home, because when it comes to culture, I think this is often either done exceptionally well or just missed, right? And what do you? You're like, maybe.
Yeah. A lot.
Tell me more. But how are ways that you can reflect on culture to really identify how to make it better?
So number one is the vision. So we really, really, really have to focus in on our vision, and then the communication of how we are showing up for people, how our team is communicating with each other. Yeah, that is really key. Also, our relationships with each other on the team. How are we interacting with each other? Do we have team agreements? And when we talk about team agreements, we talk about them in just kind of what I said is how we're going to show up for ourselves, how we're going to show up for our teammates, how we're going to show up for our patients, and have that as our compass in the office. of what we want to be and how our culture is. And if we find out that we're kind of straying away from those agreements, we need to feel safe to talk to other people on the team about either helping us or just being open to feedback and having those conversations. Just the team knows that they would do anything. You're basically like their family. However, sometimes you get mad at somebody and
We've all been there.
We just go on a tangent and you just want to be mad sometimes. We need to make it a safe place. So if you're upset
agreements.
for me,
That's the
just
first
let
time
the
I'm
team
hearing
know
about
that
team
you have
agreements,
open
and I
honest
really,
communication
really
in the team,
like
so.
that idea because it's like, do you have people sign off on it? Is it the same agreement for everybody? And it's just like your promise to uphold your part, essentially, and be transparent.
So we develop these and the workshop with the team, and we have them collectively come up with things that they would want to implement in their agreement. So they build these agreements together. It's nothing that I gave them or their doctor gave them. They all come up with these, and then we write them down. They frame them in the office. They have them in their journals. We have them in their Google Drive.
That. Oh my gosh.
That's just
I've heard
their compass.
It's simple but effective. And it's like little things like that, though, that you can... I love that. And I love that it's customized. I feel like I'm saying love a lot in this episode, but hey, maybe that's the theme, right? Love is good. Yeah. But it is. And your compass, it's identifying that you're getting direction, you're opening that line of communication. I know at one point when agency, when I worked for, we would call it the adult agreement. And we had like a big poster of it in our office, and we would always like see that. So we're all adults, and we all agree to be adults and be open-minded and like have open discussions and hear each other out, and be on time, and just all these like factors that come into adulting, if you will. But I love the idea of having a customized agreement where we all agreed together to be a part of. That probably creates more buy-in and just making sure that everyone's on board and in order to be a compass, I want it to be custom to me. I want it to be custom to the team that we're discussing with. So that typically opened, at least for us with that type of agreement, it opened up conversation to say, hey, I'm an adult right now. I'm going to be an adult right now, and I got to say this, right? Like, so it kind of is like, I agreed to something, and I'm going to open it up. This is extremely uncomfortable. But it kind of gives direction. So again, I love that you say compass too, because it is your guiding light to really help guide you through being a professional environment. We talked a lot about culture. We've talked and really just like identifying the practice as a whole. What do you think, though, when it comes to generating revenue? What are main factors? Would that kind of contribute to the reporting that we talked about, or what are main factors that you believe help generate revenue for the practice?
Scheduling the goal and having a daily goal. So if you don't know what you need to make that day, then it's just out there. So you can have a day where you're doing all consults or all crown seats, and the day looks full, but it's not productive. So just looking at that and deciding how much that you need that day and not scrambling to try to get it at the end, and making a plan to get to that goal. Looking back through reactivations. And I kind of mentioned this before, but didn't explain about it. So reactivation are the patients that we already have that have been in our practice, but we've seen them every 6 months for a hygiene check, but maybe they'd fallen off. Maybe they haven't been in from the pandemic, or they have a treatment plan and they couldn't do it at the time. And now it's been 18 months and we just have not seen these patients. So making a plan, an ongoing plan to constantly reactivate these people. We look at them as low-hanging fruit. So we don't got to go out and get 10,000 new patients. We have them there. We just have to call them and remind them to come in, or see how we can help them get in to get their treatment. That right there is going to boost the revenue extremely well. We just have to train the team on how to do so. And what else? Definitely collections in the office. Having dialogue on how the people are going to collect the money, if they're going to go through the AR constantly, and make sure those numbers stay low, and that we're not getting something past the 90-day mark that probably we're not going to collect on after that. So those two things right there are going to be huge.
Though, oh, you're speaking my language, and I am holding back from ranting because anybody knows when internal marketing or internal processes come up, I'm like geeking out. Yeah, because it's true. Like you said, reactivation is your low-hanging fruit. And we see this over and over again when it comes to digital resource, because marketing, all that is talked about is new patients, right? We need new, and we need to bring them in. And the biggest question then is, well, once you get them, how are you going to keep them from not going out the back door? Like, how are you making sure that all those marketing dollars are effective and worth the time? And that's why I love that we're the only agency that does internal marketing as well as external, because to your point, we need a reactivation program. You need a recall system. Yes, you need to be manning the phones and making sure you're getting people back. You need to have processes aligned in the office to make sure that your reappointment percentage is up, that you can get them back on the schedule and they don't fall into that inactive or reactivation block. But then once they do, because they will, people get busy, they don't want to commit. You could have the best processes in the world. There still are going to be people that fall through. Making sure you have a follow-up program to get them back in and remind them of how amazing you are and how easy it is to book an appointment with the practice. Because typically, nobody wants to start fresh. Nobody wants to find a new dentist. Nobody wants to find it or hairstylist or anything, right? We want to keep what we have and just make it easy and coast and just have our families go to that, and that's why generations of families go to the same dentist, because it's easy. Like, it's how it's always been. But like you said earlier, it's so competitive out there. And in order to compete and stand out, you want to create loyal patients. So by doing that, you make it easy for them to act, sending out emails, text messages, calling them, sending letters, whatever makes sense best for your practice, but making it efficient. So you stay top of mind and you make it easy for them to book that appointment. You're solid. It sounds so easy, but it really is. It's just as simple as turning off those messages and having them go. But I agree. It's low-hanging fruit. And we could talk about pricing with your services. We could talk about dropping insurances. And yes, those are effective too. But just working with what you got, I'll go in to some of these softwares and see $500,000 is sitting there in treatment proposed, but it's not accepted. It's like, why are we getting all these new when we could just get accepted and your goals phenomenally, So yes, 100%. And collections, about so true. We have to make sure that we're collecting the money that we're working so hard to get. But yeah,
and to speak on that a little bit, I'm sorry. To speak on that a little bit more, you said about the treatment just sitting there, working on enrollment skills, and that's not just with the dentist. That's what happens after they leave the operatory, and they see the rest of the team is how the assistant's handing them off to the front, how the front's following up with them if they.
And even when we talk about numbers and stuff, when you say enrollment, I also think of like welcoming new patients and making sure there's what do I say? When you look at your numbers, you can reflect on those and see how you can better your processes too. So no-shows or cancellations. Well, why is it? Why aren't they showing up or canceling? Is it because they're not getting reminded in a proper amount of time? Have you looked at the frequency of when you're reminding? Are you guys consistent with it? Welcoming new patients. I was literally looking at numbers with an account manager yesterday, and we noticed a practice had amazing new patient flow coming in from a majority of the ads, but the reappointment for new patients specifically was low, where reappointment for patients as a whole, like their hygiene department, was great, but for new patients specifically, we're like, oh, this is so interesting. Why is this? Like, are we as part of the new patient process, are we asking the right questions? Are we getting them back on the books? Do we need a survey or something to find out what happened to these people? It's just really interesting what numbers can identify, and by reflecting on that, you can better the patient experience as a whole, and overall better your culture, better your team, better your patient base. So anyway, like I said, I could rant about this all day, Monica. Don't.
I like it. I'll let you.
But I always like to ask when it comes to these episodes and talking to all of Fortune coaches, because you guys just have so many amazing experiences and such great knowledge about everything. And I always like to ask, what's your favorite success story that coaching has led to practice growth? Or what just like makes you heartwarm?
Oh, so I had a dentist and he really thought there was nowhere to go. Like, it was a practice that was declining. And he really saw like no way out. He didn't think the team even liked him and he just didn't know where to turn. So we did a practice analysis on the office and discovered there were tons of opportunities within his practice. So we worked on those and really came up with a solid plan. He was able to refinance some loans and just got him a solid business plan that let him kind of see patterns from before, from year over year, what he had done, and then correct a couple things in there. And just it was good. It was good. So it was okay, we'll cut that part out, the good part. So he ended up increasing his revenue 20% just by incorporating the monitors in that we talked about and really watching where the money was going and the reactivating the patients back into the practice.
Oh my gosh, 20%. That's incredible. Just to look at, you're just in the fact that he had no confidence at that point, it seems like, kind of defeated or bogged down.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Wow. That's got to feel good.
Yeah. It's very rewarding. Yeah. It's really nice because I do have a dental background also. So getting to be on the other side of it where I actually get to, help the doctor in a different way than I did before is really, really rewarding.
Yeah. Well, Monica, it has been amazing having you on this episode. So thank you so much for talking with me today. And thank all of you for tuning in. If you are in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, or Ohio, and you want to learn more about bringing your practice to the next level and being one of these practices that are growing with Monica, go ahead and give her a call at 304-914-6315, or you can send her an email at monicaglover@fortunemanagement.com. That's fortunemgmt.com. And if you want to learn more about Fortune Management, go to Fortune Management, that's mgmt.com. Thank you again, Monica.
Thanks for having me. Bye, Abby.